I'm going to do that too. I'm going to do more. I worry very much in our country today. There is not the kind of political discussion and discourse that we need. And I can tell you, as somebody who's been on TV, 84 million times, you got 7 seconds to make your case. And I can also tell you that corporate media does not do a good job in trying to understand the fundamental issues that ordinary people experience. We don't talk about that almost at all. So I want to hear from you. It's on your mind. You can ask me questions. I'll ask you questions. I'll chat for a little while. But I think all over this country, we need some serious discussions about serious issues. We are the wealthiest country in the history of the world, and when we come together, there should be nothing that we cannot accomplish.
Woo!
By saying this, there's a saying that is allegedly emanating in China, which says, "May you live in interesting times." Well, we are living in interesting times. And I think the first point that I want to make, and I say this in a community in the area of Maine, I know it's very conservative, that in my view, it goes without saying that we must defeat Donald Trump in November. Almost from a non-political point of view, Trump's politics may not be. But I think, as a nation, I think about our kids and our grandchildren. I've got 4 kids, 7 grandchildren. I don't think we want a leader of this country who everybody knows is a pathological liar. That's embarrassing. And on the world stage, people can disagree. I have conservative friends who are not liars. They believe what they believe. I believe we can talk about it. But it is hard to even engage in debate or discussion with somebody who lies all of the time, and Trump does that. I don't think we should be electing a president who is a convicted felon. I don't think we should be electing a president who is a convicted sexual abuser. And I don't believe we should be electing somebody who, as a businessman before he got into politics, was involved in 4 business arrangements, was involved in 4,000 horses. What does that tell you? I mean, it tells you that he lies all the time, signs contracts, double horses. That's pretty impressive. On all political issues, it seems to me that this country will not recover if women are driven back to second-class citizenship and lose the ability to control it. Everybody in this room knows that women have struggled with decades. It wasn't until 1920, actually, women had the right to vote. I don't remember exactly 20, 25 years ago, 30 years ago. There are 100 people in the United States Senate. At one point, there were 2 women, 98 men and 2 women. When I was mayor of Burlington, Vermont, there were no police officers, no firefighters who were women. It was thought very weird. A woman wanted to become a carpenter or a welder or an electrician. We have come a long way in breaking down those barriers, and we cannot go backwards.
Yay! Woo!
And I trust that I don't have to tell anybody in Maine that climate change is real.
Nope.
You are seeing the ocean warm, that's a big impact on your economy. In Vermont, you may know that last year we had terrible floods, devastated hundreds of small businesses and homes and our infrastructure. Just a week ago, we had another flood, not as devastating, but I was at somebody's house whose You look out there and her kitchen is in the river. What we're seeing as we speak right now, terrible forest fires raging on the west coast of Canada, in the United States. We are seeing a little while ago, you remember in Saudi Arabia, the temperatures of 125 degrees, thousands of people dying. So you're looking at more floods, more drought, more extreme weather disturbances. Every scientist in the world who studies the issue understands that climate change is real, caused by human activity, carbon emissions, and that we don't get a handle on it. What we have seen in Maine and Vermont and the rest of the country and the rest of the world is only going to get worse. It's not getting better. It's not, oh my goodness, this is a terrible event. No, it will happen and it will get worse and worse and worse. So anybody out there who's wondering about this election, if you're not concerned about the integrity, the lack of integrity of Trump, if you're not concerned about his views on women's rights, understand that Donald Trump believes, quote, climate change is a hoax created in China. That is insane.
That's right.
That's insane. And I want you to know what it means. All of you know. And this makes the problem of climate even more difficult. In America, we did all the right things tomorrow. Our country cannot alone solve the problem. You got to work with China. You got to work with Europe. You got to work with countries all over the world because we're all in this together. But if Trump is elected, and he is receiving huge amounts of money, by the way, from the fossil fuel industry, if he is elected, then what I can assure you is that China and other countries around the world will say, hey, forget it. Why are we transforming our energy system? Why are we moving to solar, wind, energy efficiency if the United States is going to be a major carbon emitter? The game will be over. And God only knows the kind of country and planet we will be leaving to our kids and our grandchildren. And obviously there is another issue of enormous importance separating Kamala Harris from Donald Trump. We all grew up, and I think in New England, maybe more than the rest of the country, with respect for democracy, and grassroots democracy. In Vermont, we have a long tradition of town meetings. Small towns come together, people argue about how much they're going to spend on the schools, how much they're going to spend on the roads, how much they're going to spend on this and that, and they vote. That's what they do. The majority wins. We have in Trump somebody who is in a very, very terrible way undermining faith in American democracy. He lost the election in 2020. And not only did he refuse to recognize that, as well as we know, to encourage people to now on January 6th, the Memphis for campaign he goes to put Biden in office. And right now, when asked, well, you have to accept the results of the election, he said, well, if I, Donald Trump, think the election is fair, that ain't the way the game is played. It's not the way football is played, not the way basketball is played, not the way elections are played. All right, I've been in many, many elections. Sometimes I've lost, sometimes I've won. But you accept the results, you man up, and you say congratulations to the person who won. You try to learn your lessons as to why you lost. You don't go around the world telling people it was all fraud. Because when you do that, you get people losing faith in our democracy and in our election system. And it is no secret to anyone who hears Trump speak and the people around the world who he admires. Is this guy wants to move us away from democracy toward an authoritarian society. We cannot allow that to happen. All of those issues and more, the choice is clear. And I think, again, no matter what your politics may be, if you're a conservative, you really want to have a pathological liar as president. But I want to take it a step further. I want to go beyond where I think many politicians go. As some of you may know, I taught this in the Senate with the Democrats. I'm part of the Democratic leadership. But I am elected in Vermont proudly as an independent, and I'm a long-serving differently than people in the Democratic or Republican Party. And the way I look at politics is not. It is people, all of us. I want to do this afternoon. Taking a look at what the real issues are, what significant issues that impact our lives. What are those issues? And to me, when I look out as to what's going on around the country, this is what I believe. I want your opinion. I hear from you. But what I see is an economy today which is working fantastically well for the people of God. Now, what I'm going to tell you, you don't see in what with you. You don't hear it let's discuss in the halls of Congress. But right now in America, you have more income and wealth inequality than we have ever had in the history of the United States. You know that? Mm-hmm. More income and wealth inequality. What does that mean? It means that the billionaires on top are doing phenomenally well, while ordinary people are struggling. And here's something, people in Maine, people in Vermont, around the country, they get angry. A lot of anger in this country. Let me tell you one reason why I think people are angry. Think about the economy in America over the last 50 years. And what we think about is a huge transformation of the economy in terms of technology. I was elected mayor of Burlington, Vermont in 1980 when we did not have a computer in Zimbabwe. People did not have cell phones. Not now. That's not 500 years ago. This is just and as a result of all of these changes in technology over the last 50 years, workers have become much more productive. You work around there, you are producing a lot more than somebody in a similar work 50 years ago. Question. Are you ready for a question? This is question number one. Here we go. Despite all of the changes in technology and increases in worker productivity, is the average worker today in real inflation economic dollars doing better or worse than that person who lived on 50 years ago? What's the answer? Worse. So take a deep breath and think about that. The world has rapidly changed. Everybody is more productive. All kinds of technology. Inflation accounted for dollars. The average American worker is earning less than he or she did 50 years ago. The Rand Corporation, not exactly a socialist group, did a study over the last 50 years. And they concluded that during that period of time, there was a $50 trillion transfer of wealth that went from the bottom 90% to the top 1%. Got it? So what we see right now in America, now we don't talk about it. And maybe the main point that I want to make to you today is that we don't talk about the most important issues. And before we're going to solve them, we're going to bring them onto the table. Fact. In America today, the three wealthiest people own more wealth than the bottom half of American society. Got it? Three people on this side, 160 million people on the other side. Anybody think that is in any way, shape, or form what the American economy should be? No. Let's not even discuss. Right, today in America, the richest country in the history of the world, 60% of our people, a lot of people in Maine, up here, a lot of people in Vermont, rural areas, living paycheck to paycheck. You all know what living paycheck to paycheck is about? Yep. I grew up in a family, living paycheck to paycheck. What is living paycheck to paycheck about? Help me out. Worry. Very good. Stand up. Stand up. What does it mean? It means worry. That is probably the best word that you can come up with. Why? Up round. Why we worry? What does it mean? Stand up. You got a hand thing? Stand up, please. We got a mic. We have a mic. All right, I want you to say, you say that again in the mic, please.
Scared that any tiny little change will tip the balance and make me homeless.
All right.
Yep.
Thank you very much. So now I want to tell you something else that is virtually never discussed. Almost never discussed. In America, let me back. In my view, if we were to start from zero and say, hey, what do we want from the nation? What do we want from our society? I think a lot of people would say, well, what I'd like to see is a country in which people live long, healthy, and productive lives. How's that? Is that a fairly good definition of what we would like to see? Long, healthy, happy, productive lives? In America, our life expectancy is significantly less than people in other countries. We're 49 on the list. Did you know that?
Yep.
Not talked about. All right, so you go to countries like Japan, they live, I think, 6-7 years longer than we do on average. We should ask ourselves why that is the case. But here is another fact, which is even uglier. It's not only that our life expectancy is lower than other wealthy countries. The gap between the life expectancy, how long we live, and the 1% and working class people is over 10 years. So if you are two people of one marriage, one is a child of a very wealthy person, one is a child of a working class person, everything being equal, on average, that wealthier child will live 10 years longer than the working class child. Now, why is the reason, it seems to me, are twofold. Number one has to do with healthcare. I want to talk about healthcare in a minute. But there is another reason. I think this woman hit the nail on it. She talked about worry. What is that? What does it mean? Why are working class and lower income people living shorter lives than this people? Who wants to help me?
Right.
Oh, raise your hand. You got to stand up. Stress. You guys got it. And I did a hearing on this a couple years ago. We got a bunch of doctors who know something about